Welcome back to the Frizz and the Grizz podcast with your hosts, Prudo and D.
And we're back after another eventful week in the world and sports. D, what's going on, buddy?
What a do, baby, man. What a weekend in sports. What a week in life, man. It's crazy. Mondays come at you quick. It feels like we just ended, but it's like just like that. We're back here in the booth, baby.
One of my favorite Mondays on the calendar. Obviously, it's it's an important day. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Did a lot for a lot of people in this country, especially the Black community. But I selfishly love this day because Monday holidays, there's nothing better than a Monday holiday.
So did you have work off for it?
Yeah.
You did? Yeah. So
You
we
not have
don't.
work?
We still worked. Yeah. We haven't quite gotten again, you work from home too, but we work from home and we're still I think we're moving towards having certain holidays off, President's Day, Martin Luther King, Indigenous People holiday. But we just haven't quite gotten there yet. I would imagine if not next year, definitely like the year after that, they're going to start doing it because like there's enough rumbling around the the business. We'll say that.
How do you like, dog? I would totally do some guilt shit. Be like, bruh,
You can't give the
look
black
at
man
me.
off.
You're not going to get off Martin Luther King Day. Like, what is your problem?
So I've heard a lot of people say some stuff like that. You're not the first, you won't be the last. I can't pull that card. I actually just got promoted too. So like I wasn't gonna be like, yo, man, black people need this day off as like my first day being a CSM. Like literally was today. So like imagine if I just broke into our meeting, which is like, yo, first line of business that we need to do, we need today off moving forward. Like,
Oh, you should.
that
You
would
should.
have that
You would
nah,
have made
bro.
every white person in that room so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable.
Everybody would have turned their cameras off via Zoom meeting. So probably could have done it just because, but nah, I can't do that.
Well, it's funny because like my future sister-in-law works for USAA, which if you're not familiar, it's like the insurance company that I think they're like exclusively for military
It is, yep.
and military spouses and families, shit like that. They don't get Veterans Day off.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised.
That's completely ass backwards, is what some people would say.
Yeah,
that doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I guess people need to get their priorities straight. So we're gonna do a lot of sports today. I think the meat of the show will be NFL, right? Because we were both tapped into the Super Wild Card weekend. We do have Frizz's 5. We took a break from that for a while. Diaz a list for us today, and then if we get to it, we'll see how much time we have towards the end. We'll do little NBA stuff because we haven't talked NBA in a while, just because it's been really exciting with the NFL and stuff like that. I do have a question, like we get into a little tangent before the show.
Yep.
I don't know what you're gonna say. I don't, because I'm trying to read the room with you, D. How do you feel about these, or just in general the idea of seltzers? Are you a seltzer fan or not?
So for those that get to listen to us
Seltzer.
tomorrow, yeah, what my co-host Trudeau showed me was that raspberry? Yeah, raspberry White Claw seltzer. I'm not gonna say that I'm not a fan. I'm not gonna grab them out the cooler, right? So like if there's a bunch of choices, that may be one of the last ones, right? Like I'm grabbing my Corona. That's the number one drink for me. If you guys ever poll, yes, Corona's the drink. Beer wise, I'm not really gonna. I mean, I'll grab a Mike's Hard just because of taste. The way that for me is if I'm gonna drink, I want to be able to actually like how it tastes. I enjoy the taste of Corona and a lime, like I really do. And is Mike's Hard's lemonade really a hardo drink? No, but like I like iced tea. So like I'll drink lemonade and iced tea if it's gonna have some alcohol in it, right? Like there's nothing wrong with that.
What's your hierarchy of like? All right, you're at a cookout. It's summertime. It's nice out, 80 degrees. They get the hot dogs on the grill. You open the cooler. Let's just imagine every beer is in there. Like, what's your hierarchy of what I'm grabbing out of the cooler?
I'm grabbing a Corona. That's
okay.
100%. I would say after that, if there's Heineken, I don't mind. Blue Moon, I don't mind, but Blue Moon's usually cans.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what else is a very
similar. I had a Blue Moon phase with you go to the bar and they give you the orange slice. That's kind of
dope. Yeah, I think that was part of it too. It's like something that you could just put on like in your drink, which is probably the reason why I like Corona. I mean, I'm not the classic like American beers like Bud Heavy, Busch, Miller Lite, none of that. So like I'm not really gonna go outside of that, other than I would say just those three. I'm hoping, and I appreciate you jumping in, Jay. Yeah, that would be part of the reason why today we are going to be again explaining as much as we can, but time constraints because your boys got some playoff stuff to take care of this evening. But beer, I'm gonna say those are at least the top three. If it's anything that I'm just grabbing, you know what I mean? Outside of I'm just grabbing a drink and just enjoying the summer.
Yeah, I've been really into the seltzers, man, just because It's lighter, right? I feel good after I drink it, and the flavors are delicious. Raspberry, nah, but I got two for the podcast. I got
Is that
the
lemon
lemon
lime?
lime. I saved the better one for the second, so I'm gonna pound the first one. Hopefully, get a little buzz by the time we're halfway through talking football today.
I'm just not a fan of raspberry. I don't know, like raspberry anything to me
Hey,
just doesn't taste good.
we already got top 5, but I want to get you top 5 fruits one day. That's all I'm saying.
One day we can do that.
One
That'll be a
day.
quick list because I don't eat fruits or drink or eat vegetables.
Amen to that, man. All right, so we already set off the jump. The majority of the stuff we're going to talk a little Super Wild Card Weekend. I don't know how you want to tackle this because, like, little disclosure behind the curtains. We kind of fly by the seat of our pants. I mean, we have a general idea, but I think it's good not to have things too structured where we can kind of just do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go in order, or do you just want to pick off a couple games that you particularly found interesting?
I mean, we could. I got something to get off my chest, and I know we talked about it off air, just because I'm starting to get annoyed with this. So we all watched, or majority of us watched the Jaguars versus the Chargers game. Now you can quote me on this show. Go ahead.
Some of us only watched half of it.
That's why I said some. A lot of people turned the channel off when they went down when the Jags went up 27-0. But what you will know that I'm not going to say that I'm a Herbert hater, but I just need to see more, right? And this isn't even about Herbert. This isn't even about Staley, right? The issue that I have is for some strange reason, the older we get, people are starting to think that like the NFL is rigged. And like
dude.
it's getting out of fucking hand to the point where, oh yeah, this is part of the script. Like no matter where you go, online, social media, like somebody is saying, this is why the NFL is rigged. Look at this way. He could have made this tackle. He didn't make the tackle. He got the first down. The reason why they wanted the Jaguars to win is so that Staley could get hired, so that they can hire, the dude, what's it called, Sean Payton. It's like, there's fucking people's lives on the line. This ain't the WWE, right? Like, we saw what happened to Damar Hamlin 2 weeks ago. You think this is a fucking script? But like, it's starting literally to piss me off that people are saying that the NFL is rigged and that everything is like a script. It's like aggravating me so bad.
Take a deep breath.
No, okay, yeah. I need to get that off my chest.
No. Because you know what? I'm wondering where this came from, because obviously I'm guaranteeing you're in a group chat and some dumb motherfucker keeps saying that it's rigged. Am I right about this?
It's not just group chat. Yes, there is. That's part of it, but it's outside of that. Yes, but that is. Because you hit that shit fucking spot on.
I got a group chat right now, and every time there is some weird upset or something happens, if you guys keep believing this, I can't even believe you guys like believe in this shit. And the funny thing is, the person that thinks it's rigged is always the person who watches the most NFL and loves it, gobbles it all up. Yeah, you know what though? Like, just the number one point against that, right, is D. How do you get paid in the NFL?
What do you mean?
Like, if you want to make bank and get the bag, how do you do that?
You got to perform.
Yeah. Do you really think people are just throwing games away and rooting?
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like Paul Crewin. Like think about what you're saying, right? Like if you think, let's just make it as simple as possible. Staley's going to get fired, right? I'm sorry, but like, I think he's on his way out as soon as Black Monday happens, right? Another dud. They made the playoffs. Herbert threw okay, so like I'll give him his credit. I don't think he's the reason they lost, but I do think there's dumb decisions made. He's gone. Do you think he signed up to be like, yeah, man, like let's throw this 27-0 game so that I get fired, so that I have to reroute my family? Like, just think about that. That's just dumb for people to be like, yeah, I mean, I think that it's rigged, and I think that it's all a setup. That the fact that, this guy, he might be coaching in the NFL, but he's going to get paid somewhere. You know how much that affects their lives, that he just gets fired? Like, it's just insane to me. It's absolutely insane.
You know where it all started?
Paul Crew. Way before that, obviously, but I just joke around with Paul Crew started.
I feel like this whole conspiracy, I don't know. I don't call it a network, just like a mindset about sports, all starts with Tim Donaghy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely.
The NBA ref who got caught. he was point shaving for games in the NBA, and
Avoiding
that's
free throws and
people
situations.
are like
Yep.
they caught one guy, so like it's got to be fixed. I don't know, man. It's crazy. And if you ever try to talk to these people that believe it, there's just no backing them off that cliff.
No, you can't. You're either on one side of the fence or the other. You really can't be like, yo, man, like, how can you think this is fake? 'Cause they'll be like, oh, well, look at this. I'm telling you, 3rd and 27, and they completed it. Okay.
Yeah.
What? Like, you think it just can't happen? Did Steph Curry hit a shot from 97% full court and it's rigged? No.
If you did believe and had the propensity to believe that these games are fixed, this weekend would drive you absolutely crazy because there was so many bizarre score lines and comebacks. Let's start with the game you mentioned because I don't think Brandon Staley gets fired personally. He still has a winning record over the 2 seasons. He made the playoffs once. They'll give him another year. He's been pretty solid for them. When I alluded to earlier that some people watched half the game, I'll have to just put my hand up. I watched the first half. I turned the game off at 24-0. Chargers.
Yeah, fair enough. And
go
ahead.
Oh, I would say I was wildly like it. I want to get your perspective because I was wildly impressed by the Chargers defense. I didn't realize they had so many guys. I didn't know they had Khalil Mack. That I just learned that this weekend. Khalil Mack was a Charger.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Bosa's a beast, dude. Asante Samuel Jr.
Derwin James,
Samuel.
Just think about how old we are, bro. Yeah.
But
yeah, go ahead.
I don't know what happened. You tell me what happened because
what happened is like so this is the prime tape of how to blow a lead in the NFL, especially when you're up 27-0, 24-0, 3 scores, right? Is you either allow a score before half or you allow a score right after half. That is huge, right? You have to make that stop before going into halftime or after going into, coming out of halftime. You cannot allow a team to score. And that's exactly what happened is the Jaguars, as much turnovers as Trevor Lawrence had, 4 picks, obviously, they allowed the Jags to score right before the end of half, right? 27-7. That's teetering. That's teetering where if one thing happens, the momentum goes to the other team because it's now a tough lead. And, right out of halftime, they got 1 first down on like 2 plays, 3 and out punt it back. Jags went out and scored. You now were up 24-0, but in less than like 15 minutes, it is now a 14-24 game. Now you're like, we have to do something. We have to try to score. We have to move the ball. They kick a field goal. We're like, cool, we got some momentum. Jags got the momentum back by throwing like a 50-yard touchdown pass. And now you're fucked, right? Because it's like, now you're like, I can't turn the ball over or punt the ball. And that's exactly what they did is they missed a field goal. So it's like, you're making it very easy for this to happen when you don't do your job. And I'm not saying that like Trevor didn't go off for 270 and a touchdown, but it's those third downs. It's picking up an extra set. It's making them have to punt. If you have to punt, they have to go the length of the field, not like you punt from your 30 and they start at their 40.
Yeah. I want to take a break, just a quick clear out to get some ASMR on this beautiful lemon lime White Claw. Just I like that.
That was a fresh pop. I'll give you that. That was definitely a fresh pop.
That's why it's top of the beer list. That pop right there.
I mean, you could have substituted that with anything, but that was a fresh pop. I'll give you that credit.
I mean, it's hard for me to give you an honest analysis of this game because, like I said, I only watched the first half because I thought it was a conclusion. I walked away thinking I have all my takes from it. I'm good. I mean, just props to Trevor Lawrence because we thought coming out of Clemson he was that dude. He obviously struggled the first year. He looked really good the second half, and a lot of quarterbacks after throwing 4 picks would have sat there with their looking down, just demoralized, but he was able to rally the troops, and he is that dude, I guess. You know what I mean? I didn't watch Herbert in the second half, so maybe you can give me some analysis, but Herbert was pinpoint in the first half. He looked fantastic. Placed the ball everywhere he wanted to go. Was that missing in the second half? Or is it just game script where they're just conservative running the ball?
It's both. So it's timely misses. And like that's what separates good to great quarterbacks is can you throw like 25 for 43, right? Right around 50%, 60%. So like I'm not saying that he had a terrible game. It's just you need a first down and it's 3rd and 4 and you don't get that first down. That is huge, especially in a game. You stop the clock, you punt it, they get a short field, they come down the field and score, right? and then you get the ball back and you try and do the same thing, run, pass, because you're trying to just run the clock out and you're just trying not to lose instead of trying to win. Huge difference between the two. And I feel like that bit them in the ass. A missed field goal because you put the game in the lines of a kicker, and then a punt, and then all of a sudden, you've given up 30 straight points.
I do have like a bone to pick with kind of the national media surrounding the NFL, especially because I think it's very popular right now to just pound on Brandon Staley, the coach of the Chargers. It's been like that for a couple weeks now. I think there was a time in his first season where he was the darling. He went for it on fourth down. People loved it, and at some point this all turned on him, and people started to hate all that stuff. You've said it yourself, and I've seen a lot of old heads in the game say it, that they love seeing coaches play their guys in week 16 or 17 now, just to keep them fresh, ready for the playoffs. Like you mentioned several times, those Giants teams that made a deep run to the playoffs, and because they played their guys their last week. Brandon Staley plays Mike Williams, and everyone's rushing him. Why would you play him in a meaningless game? Yada yada yada. He gets hurt. 100% playing the outcome on that instead of the process, because if he would have not gotten hurt, they would have applauded him for getting his guys ready for the biggest game in Wildcard Weekend. But instead, because he got hurt, everyone's just going to pile on him. And I just kind of think it's unfair. It's just like, let's just shit on Brandon Staley's show right now.
That's the Monday morning quarterback. I don't know why I can't talk. But that's the Monday morning quarterback. I wouldn't shit on him for that. I will for in-game decision making, right? I will for going after, going for a 2-point conversion because analytics say you should. Like, that's the type of stuff I'll get on. I'm not gonna, again, like I've said it before, I'm not gonna get mad at a coach for wanting to play his players because of the example that I gave with the Giants. Like when they went on their playoff runs because they were 9-8 or 9-7 with the 16, games back in the day, like they were playing playoff football leading into the playoffs. So essentially they're geared up for it. So there's nothing wrong with trying to do that. It's just, again, armchair Monday morning quarterbacks, hindsight's 2020, when one of your star players get hurt before a playoff game and you look back on it like maybe we shouldn't have played him. But like that's not going to be something that I would say why a man should lose his job.
And just kind of like to look ahead. So the Jags did win. Obviously, they can hit that great comeback. They're playing the Chiefs next week. Kansas City's favored right now by 8.5. I mean, I don't think the Jags, I think their story probably ends this week. But just a thing that people forgot is, do you know Calvin Ridley is a Jag?
Next year, yes, I did remember that, yes.
Yeah.
We talked about that, actually.
Yeah. This team's future is bright.
Very.
Regardless of what happens next week, to get your feet wet in the playoffs, go through some adversity. I'm excited to see what they do. And can you give me the shout out for Duval? I was clowning people just spamming texts, group text Duval after they were losing 24-0, and that looked.
Yeah, you sent it to me, and I was just like, hey, I didn't reply back to it because like game's not over. And then what happened?
You gave me the Duval back, like I saw it, like midnight.
Yep, but no, and in all honesty, we can wrap this one up. I think Doug Peterson is showing the true Trevor Lawrence when he can play without turnovers. He can actually respond well. I said it was a problem back when he was at Clemson. He would get the turnover at the wrong time, and it's how he would respond to it. And he's doing the same thing. But we also saw, and this is not the comparison yet, but I do know that he was compared to him when he came out of college. Peyton Manning led the NFL in turnovers the year that he first came into the NFL. He broke the record for most interceptions in the history of the NFL, right, as a rookie. Mm-hmm. Turns out to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is Peyton Manning, but when he was coming out of the draft, the metrics were the exact same thing grading-wise, that he is going to be or has the ability to be the best quarterback in the NFL history, like a Peyton Manning. Not saying that he can't, not saying that he is. It's just that he's responding well to adversity when some people – they get a shell of themselves if they throw a pick. They just can't respond well, and he did.
Yeah, the ability to kind of black out and fight your way back is definitely one in a winning quarterback. I don't know. I think the conversation on this game will be pretty limited, right? 49ers and Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Of the slate of games, probably the least interesting, in my opinion, of all of the games.
It didn't have the wow factor, but it has the Mr. Irrelevant factor. It's the cute story. You can go in on it, obviously, for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm still. Am I the only one? I'm on an island. I wonder if anyone here is still holding out on Brock Purdy, because I know people like, oh well, Tom Brady did it. But like you don't go from being a 6th round, 7th round quarterback in your rookie, your first attempt at a starter and have this much success. The wheels are going to fall off at some point. This isn't going to keep riding out. I'm going to sound like a fool probably in 4 weeks when they win the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy, but I can't believe it. I'm more curious on the Seahawks side. And you can touch on the 49ers if you want, but I'm curious what they're going to do going forward with Geno, because Geno's been better. And he statistically he was the best. He's been the best. This has been the best season in Seahawks history. He's been better than the guy he replaced in Russ. And I don't think they expected this out of him. But now that you're here, do you stick with Geno, or I think they have the 4th overall pick right now, or do you go ahead and get one of these, top end quarterbacks, your CJ Stroud or your Swaggy P from Alabama? I always want to call him. It's Nick. It's
Bryce Young.
Why do I want to say Nick Young every time?
Just because Swaggy P is definitely that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll touch on both. Tell you the truth, obviously, I'll give my take on Brock. I think Seahawks are in a playing with house money like area right now. Like they are best of both worlds. I think they can get away with, because correct me if I'm wrong, franchise tags don't go against your cap, right?
I don't know that. I would assume it did, though.
I thought there was something. Maybe I'm thinking of the bird rights with the NBA. I know that there's some type of tag that a player can get, and it doesn't really go against your cap.
In the NBA, you can go over the cap if you bird right a player.
Gotcha. So maybe I'm again way off. You're more onto the cap stuff for both leagues than I am, but I do know that with the way that they have their setup with the 4th pick, they could still draft a guy and just franchise, Geno. The reason why I say you would do that is because you don't need to have. They're winning right now, right? They can get the quarterback of the future, and they can have the guy that can season him. Right? Hey, this is what you could. This is what essentially what you could take over. We know that we're not going to be long term with Geno. But if go ahead.
No, I don't know if they can franchise him. I think there's a rule about how many years you have to be on a team before you get franchise.
Well, then here we go. Then that kills my whole assumption if that's the case. I don't think that they sign him long term. Then if they can't franchise him,
do you think he's worthy of a long term deal?
No, because you got the 4th pick. You know his ceiling. Not that it's not great, like coming off of the season that he had, but Geno Smith's ceiling. Are you really going to win a Super Bowl with him? Probably not. Are you going to be a contender? Yeah, you will be. But like that's not what we're here to be. We're here to win Super Bowls. And not saying that you're a guaranteed Super Bowl with the top 4 quarterback, but you have a longer window. I don't think Geno Smith's window is as large as a rookie quarterback's would be.
I know this is more this what I'm going to say is more true in the NBA than NFL, but I had this thought, and I'm glad we went down this road. I had this thought on, was it Friday? When was the Mega Millions drawing on Friday? I
think it was Friday, yeah.
Okay. So I went to the store, I got a few bucks, got a 20 out of the ATM, right? I want to buy some Mega Millions because I wanted to be a billionaire. Did not happen. That's why I'm here still today.
Nope.
I'd be here today if I won $1 billion.
I'd show up still.
Yeah. Anyways, I got sidetracked. So got $10 of lottery tickets and I bought a $10 scratch ticket. And on the ride home, I was so excited about the $10 scratch ticket because it could be $1 million, could be $10,000, could be $1,000, could get $100 on it. Like there's so many good possibilities, but in reality, there's like a 15% chance of actually getting anything. Like I think 80% of those scratchies are losers. And that's kind of what these draft picks are. I think that a lot of teams and GMs view the positive, right? Like this could be $1 million scratch ticket.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, a lot of these scratch tickets are losers. And if I'm the Seahawks, granted, yes, Geno Smith is not Patrick Mahomes. He's not that top 10 or top, end quarterback, but he's solid. He's serviceable. He can win you games. And I think if you're trying to draft a quarterback at number 4, you're reaching for those scratch tickets. And listen, we all know the Geno Smith story. It's been a weird career, right? He's been knocked out of the league literally by being punched in the face with the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's happy. He's in a good spot. If they offer him a team-friendly deal for 3 years, I think it's win-win for both the organization and himself. He gets stability. Give him $20 million a year over 3, like $20 million per year for 3 years. It's not killing you, right? he's happy. He can stay somewhere where he's successful, and everyone's happy. That's what I think they should do.
The more that you explain this, the more it just makes me think about other stuff involved with the trade. They got multiple first round picks for Russell, right?
Yeah, so their 4th overall pick this year is actually the Broncos pick.
Yeah,
which
that's
is hilarious.
yeah, that's the part of it. The reason why I say that is you have to, if they're going to sign him. I don't think that they're winning a Super Bowl with Geno Smith. I don't think they're winning an NFC Championship with Geno Smith. Will he win games? Yeah, sure. You have to find out when you can reset the clock, though, right? Because you can't be mediocre. And if you sit there and you dwindle between barely making the playoffs and not making the playoffs, and you're between 10 and 15 each year, that's when it's a problem. That's when you never get to reset the clock. Pete Carroll is one of the oldest coaches in the NFL. He wants to win one before he's done, right? Like, I'm sure that that's his thing. And getting a younger quarterback will allow him the ability to do that, to do what they won, back in 2011, whatever the time they won their Super Bowl. Younger quarterback, they're able to build with pieces around him where they don't have to put money into the quarterback. They can just buy other, I would say, other assets in free agency.
Well, and I don't want to jump the horse here. Is that the expression? I think jump the cart, whatever. But
jump the horse. I hope we're
I
not
think
jumping
jump the cart's
horses,
an
bro.
expression.
Maybe.
To like get ahead of yourself. But we had this conversation about the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, and I know we'll talk about that game maybe later, but I think part of the holdup with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson is they have to really look at themselves in the mirror and be like, are we competent enough, and do we have the pieces on a rookie deal to win with Lamar Jackson if we give him $40 million guaranteed? And they're probably saying no. To your point, right? If you pay a quarterback less, you can spend money elsewhere. With Lamar, if you give him that guaranteed $40 million deal, and everyone complains about him having no weapons, you'll never get him the weapons unless you draft like a maniac and just nail every pick. And again, those lottery tickets, they don't always hit. So from that standpoint, I could see why the Ravens might say, let's reset the clock there. With Geno, it's a good scenario where sometimes the middle of the road, the 6th to 12th, people do quarterback rankings all the time. Sometimes the 12th quarterback can be a blessing in disguise, because if you get them on the right deal, you can spend money and retain that stud wide receiver. And those Seahawks receivers, pretty damn good.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about with the draft picks for the Broncos. We might not have it anymore, but like I know that I don't know.
Let's ride.
I thought we were going to retire it because we weren't going to talk about them, but I think it's going to be done after this week because now the Seahawks are out. But with those picks, I don't believe that the Broncos will be as bad as they were this year again. They have talent. They have no coaching, right? So like he's gone. So like I think they have the tools. They just needed to be in the right direction. So will they get another high top 10, top 5 pick? Probably not. But you can win a Super Bowl with Ben Roethlisberger. You can win a Super Bowl with what we saw, Russell Wilson. I'm not saying that they got to draft him in the second round.
They were very good though there. Like when they were like at the top of their game.
They had the defense to play. They had some receivers that were in play, and then they came in and they drafted a quarterback
with Peyton Manning and a noodle arm. The Broncos team.
Yeah,
that was
that's all defense. That's all an all-timer defense. I wouldn't say that the Seahawks are not an all-timer defense.
No.
But I think that you can reset the clock with, if you sign him. And again, you're flipping me. Usually I don't flip. I'm standing hard in the sand. But I think the more that we think about it, I forgot about their draft picks in the future. If you don't believe in a quarterback from this draft, which I still believe in, at least 2 of them, Bryce and CJ Stroud, I think are top tier. If you don't believe in those, or you don't think that you're going to get them, then maybe you do sign Geno and you keep him and then hope for a top 10, top 15 pick next year after still winning.
I don't want to get too sidetracked, but that's kind of what we do here. We want to get to all the games, but I'm curious your personal opinion, because you're a diehard Saints fan. Obviously your ex-girlfriend Sean Payton left you to make a broadcasting gig, and now he's sniffing around the other teams. How do you feel about that as a Saints fan?
I respect it. The reason why I respect it is because they won a Super Bowl, right? If they'd have done the full, who was the kid from Dallas, that Garrett,
Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett, yeah. You coach for 10 years, you're hyped up for 10 years, you're expected to be a champion for 10 years, and then you lose. That's one thing. but they still won a Super Bowl, right? Very happy when they won it. Not only they won a Super Bowl, they were competitive. A couple of bad situations, like 3 out of 4 straight years, but they put it on themselves. So like they were in it. I was very happy. When he retired, I looked at it and I was just like, look, he doesn't want to do a rebuild, and I don't blame him. So that's not going to bother me. If they didn't win a Super Bowl, then I'd be pissed, because then it's Nick Saban all over again. It's Nick Saban that left, LSU off of a championship to go to the NFL and then just come back to another team and make them good. It's like, why did you leave us in the first place? Right. But with the Saints, they're in a rebuild. So like, I don't mind him taking off because he did well, right? He gave a loser franchise a Super Bowl, and you can't be mad at that.
All right. So I don't think there's much more to add to the 49ers Seahawks. I'm curious to see how the 49ers fare next week. It's either going to be the Cowboys or Bucks. We're recording on Monday night, so we don't know at this point. I'm guessing the Cowboys. I don't know. I don't believe in the Bucks, but we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
One game that I actually did watch start. This is the only game I watched start to finish fully, because it's hard. Man, I have a kid. It's hard to sit in front of a TV for 3.5 hours straight. You know this.
Absolutely.
But I did watch the Dolphins Bills start to finish, which I thought, like, whatever. Like, I'm gonna watch one game. It's gonna be a shit game. I'll sit here and watch it. No, that game was really, really good.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of upset that Tua didn't play this game.
What did I text you?
Yeah, that one was tough, because if there was a week where the Bills just got, hey man, you fucked up, you dropped the bag, this was it, right? I think this was the one that like wakes them up to be like, look, if you guys are gonna win the Super Bowl, you can't do this again. Josh Allen played Josh Allen like, where you start to play turnover style games, and I know I said that that's his game, but like in the playoffs, it will hurt you. It will keep the other team in the game if you keep turning the ball over, and that's what they kept doing. Strip sacks and a couple of fumbles. I mean, a strip sack and a couple of picks. That's not good. That's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he's got to worry about, what is it, the Chiefs next? I mean, the Bengals next week. Bengals defense is not bad, right? And they got a better quarterback over there, so like you can't make those same mistakes that they made against the Dolphins.
It's crazy, because watching that game live, you would have thought, like, based on how well the offensive played. Granted, yeah, Josh Allen threw some picks. He turned the ball over several times. He was still very impressive on a lot of his throws.
Mm-hmm.
You would have thought that the Bills should be up and winning this game and up 2 touchdowns, but they just kept shooting themselves in the foot. I texted you, and I don't think you said what the text was. I said, man, if the Dolphins had Tua, they would be up. And I said this early, up 2 touchdowns easily. Yep. That offense for the Dolphins was just abysmal. Even guys like Waddle and Tyreek Hill were dropping easy completions, like very uncharacteristic. And for some reason, the game was still lock, neck, tied. It comes down to turnovers. Like that was almost the big story from this weekend. That's kind of what happened with the Ravens and Bengals that decided the game. And we said several weeks back about Josh Allen. I asked you, is this anything that Josh Allen led the league in interceptions? And you said no, because you take the good with the bad with Josh Allen, and there is a tipping point, right? Like if you let me put it this way: Josh Allen can throw picks because he's a phenomenal player and he makes up for it with the big plays. But there's a tipping point where it goes south for you, and I think that they are lucky maybe to get it out of their system now, like you alluded to. But against the better team down the line, you can't have this happen again.
Absolutely not. I mean, just look at the stats, and it's actually kind of comical that the Dolphins put up 31 points. They got 180 yards from their quarterback and 42 yards from their running back core.
That's bad, man.
That's abysmal. 31 points. I don't think there was a defensive touchdown. I think they were all just close touchdowns. I don't remember there being like a pick six or anything like that.
Special teams too, really good in this game. They had a big return. Wasn't there a fumble by a Bills? I might be making up like a Bills returner and a fumble. I don't know.
Yeah, well, sorry, they had a fumble recovery for a touchdown on Josh Allen. It was the one that, like, he got stripped and then somebody like almost punted it, kicked it back like 10, 15 yards, and they picked it up, scooped, and scored. But yeah, that's turnovers will keep you in it. They'll make a great team look very bad or mediocre. We saw that with the top tier teams with the Bills and the Bengals. We'll get to the Ravens-Bengals game soon. But like if you're not able to put teams away early, They will stick around. And a big point that I texted somebody on the side, one of my buddies from up north. This wild card weekend is huge for like the NFL moving forward. 3 games, 4 maybe, I want to say 4, where the teams played each other 3 times.
That was interesting.
That is huge for any game that you think there is going to be a blowout. Absolutely not. Like if you get to see a team 3 times in one season, we see how that ends up with like, the Patriots of the past. They blow out the Dolphins at home and then they get smacked on the road, right? And don't tell me it's because of the humidity. No, it's because you see the same team over and over. You know their tendencies, you know their schemes, you know what certain people are going to do. In a playoff game, that's even more magnified. So, like, I'm not surprised at how close these games were over the weekend.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how many times this has happened in the past where every team in a playoff round has seen the other team at least once, because every team in the Super Wildcard weekend has played the other team. And I'm trying to think if it's gone the same way. Pretty much except for the Giants Vikings. Everything else has gone kind of chalk to what you've seen in the regular season up to this point. I mean, I just took a peek at the Cowboys Bucks. Cowboys are up, so I'm thinking that one goes the other way again. Yeah, Dolphins Bills is a really surprisingly fun game. Hoping for the best for Tua, his health next year, because I think this team could be special with Tua. Their defense got together. I mean, they gave up 34 points, but their defense was forcing turnovers. So, I mean, the one concern I have for the Bills, and I'll have this for the remainder of time, is their run game's kind of abysmal. I don't know if they're ever going to fix that, but we'll see how that turns out for them. I still think they should be up there as the favorite, if not like top 2 favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, if they get that, I don't think the running game is bad because they split. They don't have a bell cow, but Cook, Singletary, and then you mix in a couple of Josh Allen runs. They're still flirting 110, 120 per game, right? 40, 40, and 30 between.
They just don't seem to have like a dominant run game where if they want to run the ball,
that's that part right there.
Have to mix it in. It's kind of like they pass first all the time. They can't just milk the clock.
Right. That's huge for putting teams away, because if you can't do that, if you can only get 3 yards per clip, which essentially will end up with, like I said, 40, 40, and 30 with your 2 running backs and quarterback, third and fourth quarter, when you have the lead, you're going to allow the other team to stay in it if you can't run the ball. So like that is going to be huge when you go up against, potential teams that have really good running backs, especially when you face the Bengals this weekend.
I was just looking at who's remaining, and I would say of the favorites to win the Super Bowl, I would say the top 2 favorites in the Super Bowl, probably the Bills. I haven't looked at the odds. I'm guessing it's probably the Bills and the Chiefs, maybe followed by the Bengals. I don't know if people take the 49ers over them, but those 3 teams, their run game, I don't know, man. It's kind of non-existent. So
they got the quarterback, but the Bengals have the better of those remaining. The Bengals have the 49ers on the opposite side with McCaffrey. McCaffrey's just
run game.
Yeah, he's also used in different situations, which affects the way that they run.
All right, so the next game, Giants Vikings. I don't. It's Kirk Cousins. That's all.
It's just Kurt being Kurt. I don't.
To the audience,
look, man. Sure. So for those that didn't get to watch it, Kirk Cousins being Kirk Cousins,
by the way, for most of the game.
The thing is, like I said with the Lawrence and the Herbert situations, it's not the fact that he went like 90% passing. If I'm looking at it, it's like 270 off of. I think he only had like 5 incomplete passes, if I look at it correctly. It's not 8 incomplete passes. It's not the fact that he threw for 80%. It's the decision making when he threw those incomplete passes. It's the didn't throw for the first down, you came up short. It's the incomplete pass on 3rd and 6, so it led to a punt. It's the short throw for, it's 1st and 10, you take the 2-yard dump off, right? Instead of trying to stretch the field. Those are the decisions making, like bad decision making, that make Kirk Cousins a average to below average quarterback. And the way that the game ended, I texted my friend, he's a Minnesota Vikings fan, and I said, if he's throwing to Justin Jefferson or KJ Osborne or even old ass Adam Thielen, they're still not making that play on 4th and 10, throwing it 3 yards short of the first. Like, he would have had to break the tackle. Granted, the guy that caught the pass TJ Hawkinson. So like the fifth option. For Kirk Cousins, the first option. If he's on any other team in the NFL, he's the fifth option. He would have had to break a tackle with other people, closing in on him, break those tackles, and then find a way to get 9 yards. I just don't understand when your playoff lives are on the line. That's the decision you made. And miss me with he had pressure. He had to get rid of it quick. It's the end of the game. At least show me something where you're trying to fight for that fucking first down, break a sack and do something and throw it down the field, not take the check down 2 yards and then be like, oh man, I thought TJ Hawkinson was going to break 30 tackles and get the first down.
I don't know what was going through his head on that pass. 4th and 8, you mean worst case scenario, you just bomb it down the field to Justin Jefferson. Know where Justin Jefferson is, and he'll give you a chance. It's crazy though. Like for the most part, that Giants defense did a great job covering up Justin Jefferson. He went 4 for 47, no touchdowns. Adam Thielen 3 for 50. The only one that really killed him was TJ Hawkinson.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of surprising from the Giants. Obviously, we know Kirk Cousins, who he is. He's probably, I don't know, your 12th to 8th best quarterback in the league, depending on the week. Obviously, he has weeks where he looks like a bonehead and throws 2-yard dump off on 4th down. He'll have weeks where he lights the world on fire. I think he's a free agent after the season. I think it's an interesting conversation on both sides of this ball. And I know we're talking about quarterbacks, but that's kind of like how a lot of fans kind of relate to each team. We just talked about that Kirk Cousins just finished a year making, I think, $30 million or $35 million a year.
Unbelievable.
What do you do if you're the Vikings? Because here's the thing. And I was thinking about this when I was making dinner tonight. I do a lot of thinking about football when I'm making
Man's best time thinking is when I'm cooking dinner.
Yeah, I like to take the steak and hold it like a loaf of bread, like a football, and just think about, Kirk Cousins as I'm making mashed potatoes. It's one of my passions. But on a serious note, he's not good, but there's not a lot of they have no option in the backup, as far as the backup's concerned. And there's not going to be a ton of great options as far as free agency unless you are willing to maybe, I don't know, trade away first round picks and get Lamar Jackson. Do you bring Kirk Cousins back? Because I almost feel like he's too good. He's not good enough to win you a Super Bowl, but he's too good to just let him walk. It's a weird situation.
Cannot stand how the situation for Cousins is set up. He is always going to get paid, and he is always going to underproduce whatever contract he has. Every single year. He's going to make so much money. He's going to get re-signed because, again, there isn't really a better option out there to push them over the edge without giving up assets, but they can't not have him. So he knows the offense. He's been around for a very long time. He's the veteran QB that you want to stick around with. He's just going to do this every single year, and it's going to break your heart. Sorry, Vikings fans, but that's just what's going to happen. In the ownership and coaching, there's nothing out there that they can get without giving up, like you said, assets.
The Vikings would almost be in a better situation as a franchise. And disagree with me if you want. If they just were awful this year, they finished 4-12 or 4-15, and they said, well, maybe we can rebuild and get rid of Kirk Cousins, draft a quarterback. But they're in a position where they need to win now. So gambling on a quarterback and wasting the years of Justin Jefferson on a rookie deal doesn't make any sense, right? You can restart with a new quarterback, give the quarterback a couple of years to get accustomed if you're getting a rookie quarterback. But by the time you're ready to win with that quarterback, Justin Jefferson's going to get the bag or be out. So it's such a weird situation where they almost have to pay him. I'm just hoping the $30 billion a year thing ain't going to work. Although quarterbacks go for stupid money, so who knows?
Yeah, and he might be franchisable. I know I keep throwing that out there. It's just you don't
everybody.
Well, but I'm just saying it because you don't want to overpay, but what else is there out there, right? Are you going to give Kirk $35-40 million guaranteed for what just happened? No, but you might have to give him 28, 29 for 1 year because that's the mean or the median, whatever the middle is. I don't like it. I don't. Again, I hate that we talk contract shit about Kirk Cousins and it's him getting $30 million guaranteed, but we can't talk contract shit about Lamar Jackson. We talk about trades. Like it's annoying. But that's the NFL. Unfortunately, that's where we're at, and he's going to get paid somewhere. I think he's going to stick in Minnesota. I don't think that they can afford to get rid of him because they don't have a backup plan. There's no contingency in Minnesota besides like we need to find out if we can at least make the NFC Championship with Kirk Cousins. And hey, the ball didn't fall our way in the game, right? But like we made it to the game before the Super Bowl at least.
And so I want to talk about the Giants real quick, but before we get to the Giants offense, just their defense, very impressive in this game. Obviously, I said they shut down Justin Jefferson for the most part. Thibodeau, that kid Thibodeau, love that. He's great. He's great.
Great draft pick.
Yeah. Was he LSU kid?
No. Thibodeau. I don't want to say. I know that I don't think he was like Georgia or Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say he wasn't a top like SEC guy. He was somewhere else, but yeah, he came out.
When
of Oregon.
I hear Thibodeau with an EAUX at the end, I'm like, oh, he must be from the Bengals or the Bayou. That is.
No, he wasn't a Southern guy.
So just the weird thing on the Giants, obviously, first of all, I after this game, I want to give Dayball Coach of the Year. Like, just give it to the man. Like, what he's done to this team, it's insane. But they have obviously some issues. Well, first of all, before we get to like what's going on with them, what did I text you towards the end of that game
about
Danny Dimes?
Yeah, Danny Dimes. He's playing himself into a contract.
No, I think Danny Dimes is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I don't know. Is that a hot take?
I don't think so because I don't think you're quite off because I think I responded by talking about Goff. Where the right coaching can change a motherfucker big time. And Dayball is utilizing Daniel Jones. I want to call him Danny Dimes all the time, but utilizing Daniel Jones phenomenally this season. And who knows what happens moving forward. But if he does what he's doing continuously, he's got the arm, he's got the mobility, and he's making the right reads. What doesn't put him in the top 10 for quarterbacks right now, right? Are you going to take Danny Dimes or Kirk Cousins? I'm taking Danny Jones
Dimes.
right now.
Yeah, I'm taking Danny Dimes. Let's play this game. Let's just play this fun game. just in a complete redraft, right? I'm just going to throw some names and ask you who you take. Ready? Danny Dimes, Mac Jones. I know where you're going that one.
We don't have to ask a question like that.
Just answer.
I'm going Jones. All right.
Yeah. Danny Dimes, Ryan Tannehill.
Jones.
Danny Dimes or Derek Carr.
Jones.
Danny Dimes, Jalen Hurts.
Hurts.
Yeah, that's pretty. I'm trying to find like a good comp. You said Kirk Cousins. Just 1 year, right? Just 1 year. We're not talking long term. Next year, if you don't win, you die. Danny Dimes, Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh. Where's A-Rod?
Just you're starting a franchise, your team.
That doesn't help because Aaron Rodgers' mood depends on the team around him. I'm going Rodgers.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Danny Dimes, last one, or Geno Smith.
Jones.
Yeah, I think
Geno was a flash.
I'm taking Danny Dimes over Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why I'm so high on Danny Dimes. I don't know what it is. And you know what the crazy thing is week after week after week, Daniel Jones gets like 50 plus rushing yards. Is it because he is a goofy white guy? The defense is like, nah, he ain't gonna run.
No, he's quick.
He's sneaky fast.
Well, he remember a while ago. We're getting way off topic. But a while ago, he broke the one that he fell. Remember when he had like an 80-yard run and he could have ran it for touchdown?
That's why no one respects him.
Yeah, well, he also had for that year, I think the fastest timed like shoulder pads. They put the chip to see how fast everybody. Like he broke at like 24, 25 miles an hour. I don't think it's 25, but he broke at like 20, 22 for a quarterback, which everybody's like, damn. And it's not even just his speed; it's stride, right? 6'5" quarterback moving that fast. He's covering some ground, so like 3 steps, he's got 10 yards.
All right, last game, because I know we want to do first fries. You have to get out of here. It's going to be a short podcast episode today. Just quick takeaways on Ravens Bengals. I mean, it's hard to tell what anything giant away because Ravens were down to Huntley, but it was a close game. Let's just say going forward, from the Bengals perspective, like what do you take away from this game, and then looking ahead with that?
I am nervous about that offensive line. Burrow was running for his life. It was, just like last year, snap, less than 2 seconds, got to get rid of the ball. And I know at the beginning of the season, we talked about, he holds onto the ball the longest in the NFL. It was not that. Last night we saw, I want to say the likes of Roquan Smith. They sent Patrick Queen off the edge a lot. I know that Marcus Peters came in on one of the plays. Like, they were just blitzing because their left tackle he didn't know deer in headlights, literally doing spinneroonies out there. There was a play where it was a shotgun snap and the running back went, left flats. He was supposed to chip the lineman. He didn't. And the left tackle just watched the lineman go past him. And it's like, you can't, no matter how good of a quarterback you are, if as soon as you snap the ball, you see a free rusher, you're not going to be a good quarterback, right? Like, it's a psychological thing. So like, I'm nervous. I think that they can counter it because of the talent they have. And somebody that I spoke with, off air, like, you have a better way of scheming for shit when you have a week to prepare for it. They weren't preparing 3 offensive linemen to go down yesterday, and that showed big time, obviously, with the way that they could play their game.
Yeah, just the one interesting thing from the Ravens' perspective, I saw that Lamar didn't show up to the game, and I'm hopefully he's done playing games with them and just not going to be Mr. Nice Guy and just say, either trade me or pay me. That's it. Boom. End of story.
Yeah, you said it. I told you Lamar's a baller, and he was. 12 weeks he showed up to work. Once he got hurt, he's just like, all right, I'm still hurt. And big shouts to Robert Griffin III throwing out his social media post about when he tore his ACL, saying that that's why you don't put a brace on your knee and tell him to just play, because his life was ruined. Like, RG3 was never the same, literally changed his entire career because he came back, off of a knee injury before he should have. So yeah, if you're Lamar, you sit on it, next year you come back and hopefully you get a better chance, or you walk into the facility and you say, Harbaugh, get me the fuck out of here.
Get the man his bag. We're going to do things a little different today. Abbreviated show. We wanted to talk a lot of football up front. We have about 5 more minutes left in the show. We're going to finish Dave versus 5 because obviously it's the best, most popular segment in all of podcasting.
Prepare yourselves for the greatest and most unique segment in podcast history. Let's rank some stuff with D. It's time for Frizz's 5.
Whew! Ready to be back, right? Back on the train when it comes to Frizz's 5. I feel like we haven't done it in a while, so we're coming at you hot. We definitely talked about this pre-show. Trudeau has no idea what picks I got for him. We don't need to do any sounders because today's top 5, we are talking about Frizz's top 5 chips, bag of chips of all time. Let's get it, baby. Number 5. The way I'm going to start this off, I had to make sure that it was considered a chip. It's in a bag, so it definitely is. I'm going with Flaming Hot Cheetos.
We forgot Happy Monday, by the way.
I know. I thought about it. I was like, we just gotta let the ship running. But yeah, bro, I'm going with Flaming Hot Cheetos. I had to make sure that it was considered a chip. It's weird, right? Like, it's a little peg looking thing. But Cheetos are dope. I watched Where It's Made, or like those old shows that like the guy from Nickelodeon talks about, Mark Summers, and like it was cool that like the guy that created Cheetos actually didn't want the cheese to be on your fingers at first. And then like one taste tester was just like, oh, this is actually really good. So they're like, you know what? Keep that shit on it. Make it so that people have orange fingers every time they eat my chips. And so like nice. it stuck. So it was a cool little story. But yeah, I'm definitely going with some Flaming Hot Cheetos. Is
Never 5. Had Flaming Hot Cheetos.
All right, number 4. Rip this through because this one isn't in a bag, but it's still considered a chip because it's in a tin. Barbecue Pringle chips, baby.
Very specific on your chips.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that one because you can't just say Pringles. Like, there's so many different flavors: sour cream, regular. Like I said, barbecue is my favorite. So like, I'm definitely going with some Pringles. Again, out the tin can or aluminum can. However, that I think it might even be wood. Whatever the hell it's in, it's a really good chip. That's my type of barbecue. We're gonna rip through these as quickly as possible. So number 3. This is where it gets good, right? Because I want to see how your reaction is to this. Number 3, I'm going with some Doritos, but I'm going with the nacho cheese red bag Doritos.
but they are who we thought they were.
I'm surprised. That's my number one.
Yep.
I knew you were a Blue Ranch. I knew you were a Cool Ranch guy.
I mean, I'm not gonna get rid of my top two yet, but yes,
That's
man,
one.
those Doritos, something about those regular, I would say, nacho cheese Doritos. They're great. You can't just have one. You got to have a handful, and then when you're done with that handful, you got to go grab another handful.
Notice you called those the regular Doritos. Those should be the blue ones if it's on your list.
Now I'm just saying, bro, nothing wrong with some nacho cheese Doritos, but again, they're just not my top favorite of all time. And like I say, this is my top 5. It ain't your top 5. Number 2, I'm all about classics, man. The Lay's classic potato chip.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Man, you can call me, flat. You can call me, simple. Just something about it's so versatile because you can eat it regular, you can dip it, you can flip it, you can fry it, you can do anything with that type of chip. And I'm just a big fan. You can put it on sandwiches, right? Like it's very versatile for a bag of chip. So I'm definitely going with that one as being my number 2.
All right. Well, I know what number 1 is, but let's do the drum roll.
In my drum roll, baby. It's always going to be the blue bag Doritos Cool Ranch chips, baby.
We all knew that.
Come on, man. You can't tell me that there's a better chip out there than some Cool Ranch Doritos. Like, if a place doesn't sell Cool Ranch Doritos, I'm flipping out. If all I see is nacho cheese, like if I go to, where's a place that D'Angelo subs, right? Where they always have Doritos. But sometimes the motherfuckers don't have the blue chips, right? Because they're already gone. So like, yo, can you go out back and get me some Cool Ranch Doritos? I'd love to get this with my steak and cheese sub. Thank you. And like, I'm not mad, but like, I'm very, specific about it. Like, I need this bag of chips. So yes, it is the dominant Dorito chip. It is the best of all time. You can have it in the morning, in the afternoon, summertime, late time, wintertime. It don't matter. Give me a bag of chips. Give me some Doritos. Give me some Cool Ranch, baby.
I definitely had you pegged for a Blue Ranch guy. You need to try. You need to try the Cape Cod.
So
chips,
I've heard about those. The reason why I couldn't put them in my top 5 is because I feel like they're just. I haven't had them enough. I only have them at certain cookouts, like random ones in New England. But like I haven't had a bag of Cape Cod chips like in a year down here, right? Like I've eaten a ton of Doritos.
I feel, yeah, you picked the classics. I liked it. All right, that's your show today. A short one. I mean, I think this is last week. We were in like an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's due. So just, hey, if you're watching live, remember, this is a podcast. So if you want to catch the beginning or whatever, check us out. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're actually on like everything. So wherever you get your podcast. And vice versa. If you're listening on podcast now, listening to my voice, check out Twitch. D_Frizzy_Frizz5. We have YouTube, Facebook. Just search us. Frizz The Grizz podcast. You'll find us. D, anything for us before we get out here?
Before we head out, obviously we say take care of yourselves, especially with what happened a couple of weeks ago. Thankfully, Mr. DeMar Hamlin is recovering. Make sure y'all take care of y'all bread, y'all chicken, y'all mentals, y'all physicals. More importantly, you can find us everywhere. Just like Trudeau said, if you want to search for us, you can find us. Good luck tonight for us for Hidden Leaf, baby.
And before we get there, should we need what's episode name? Duval?
Duval!